What do you do when you're no longer who you were, but you haven't yet become whoever it is that you're becoming? I'm in Atlanta. Today was a high of 77. Tomorrow will be a high of 80. Wednesday will be a high of 83. But Thursday will only have a high of 59 degrees. And there's going to be a whole lot of pissed people in Atlanta on Thursday. But technically, it's still winter. And that is what the liminal space feels like, right? If you feel like some days in your life get hot, but technically you still feel like you're in the cold, sis, you are not alone. Hello, all. If you're new to me, my name is Dr. Sherelle MacArthur, otherwise and better known as Dr. Mac. I am an associate professor of education. I'm a wellness and life coach, an educational researcher, an author, a speaker, a mommy. And just like you, I am in transition, right? And so some days we feel stuck, isolated, alone, confused about where we are and where we're going. This used to be so great, and I've made all the money in this place, and I've gotten all the awards and rewards and notoriety, but now I need something different. I need something new. And I don't know what that is yet. And so maybe you're exploring hobbies. Maybe you return to things that you enjoyed before you had the kids, but you still feel like wherever you are is not where you were. And it's certainly not wherever God is taking you. Can anybody be honest and say that they understand what that feels like? Because Dr. Mac understands what that feels like. I am in the space with you right now. Sometimes people say, until God opens the next door, praise him in the hallway. This is the hallway. This is what they were talking about. And, we can talk about other times and ways that we feel stuck. Today, I'm going to talk briefly on the liminal space because I'm working on my solo book and I just finished writing about the liminal space. When it's not yet spring, it's technically still winter, but you have this time where some days are hot and some days are cold. And that feels whatever it feels like in the physical, right? You could put on a jacket, you could take off a jacket, you could put on a sweater, you could put on a short dress. That's what happens in the physical. But in your real life, when it feels hot and cold and hot and cold and cold and cold and cold and cold and hot and cold, it's very challenging, especially if you are a high achieving Black woman who has grown accustomed to the hot because you ensured that you created a life for yourself that kept you warm. Ooh. I created a life for myself that has kept me warm. I've created a life for my child that has kept him and us warm. And now I'm in this space where I want to throw on a cute dress and it's 59 degrees outside. And I'm like, what's happening? What season of my life am I in? It doesn't exactly look like spring. It doesn't exactly look like winter. And it doggone sure don't feel like summer, right? That's the liminal space. But I also want to make sure we're clear. And because I'm a teacher and an author, I've written some things down, right? So if you see me look down, that's why. Because we're in this liminal space doesn't mean that we have to resolve it. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily a problem more than it is a passageway that we have to learn how to maneuver, a pathway that we have to navigate. So maybe you aren't stuck, sis. Maybe you're in between. And that's a completely different thing. So it's like, join me, take a seat in the liminal space right beside me, right beside me. Liminal, the word liminal, especially if that's a new knowing for you, liminal means threshold. Okay. It's the space that exists after you've left one room, but before you enter the next. It's literally a hallway. All right. Liminal spaces, from my experience, and please, I would love to hear if you are in the liminal space right now and you're watching this, please just drop the hand raise emoji or a hand emoji and then tell me what the liminal space feels like for you. I'm going to talk about what the liminal space feels like for me. Okay. So, one of the ways that the liminal space can feel is completely and utterly disorienting. I don't like to feel that way. Author fist shake. It feels disorienting for me because the old identity, Sherelle as I have come to know myself, Dr. Mack as I have come to be known, doesn't fit me quite the same anymore. And the Sherelle that I am becoming, the Dr. Mack that I will be, hasn't fully yet formed or arrived. I don't know where this book I'm writing might take me, what impact it might have. I don't know where this YouTube channel might take me or the reach that it may have. So I haven't quite made it to whoever she is up there. But I'm still not also this Sherelle, this Dr. Mack that I once was. As a professor, especially if you are on the tenure track, for example, you are an assistant professor, which doesn't mean that you assist other professors. It's just the title, right? You're an assistant professor, and then you earn promotion and or tenure, and you become an associate professor, and then you can earn again promotion to a full professor, right? I am an associate professor. So I'm in that middle ground. I'm no longer an early career scholar where I'm trying to write, and become known and make sure people know my work and my research and all of those types of things. I'm more at a place in my career that people have read my work. People who are in my area might know who I am. I've earned my stripes at my institution. So I'm in that place, right? But I know that there's more coming. It just hasn't fully arrived yet. And here's one thing about high achieving Black women, or me as a high achieving Black woman. I have been able to create the flow of my life. I applied for a PhD program. I ensured that I was a graduate teaching assistant, a graduate research assistant, that I went to the necessary conferences, I met the necessary people, I garnered the right mentors. I then, once I graduated, applied for, earned a job. I've been at two different with how many fingers do I have up? Two different institutions. And what you have to do is publish or peril, which they say is an old concept, but it's definitely still in play today. And so you're conducting research, you're writing articles, writing book chapters, writing articles, writing book chapters, co-authoring, single authoring, speaking at conferences, doing a keynote, all of these things so that you can get to promotion and tenure, right? I know how to do all of that. What's coming next leaves me in a place of, will I know what to do? And I know that God has said, yes, you do know what to do. And it also, shout out to my therapist who said, don't be afraid to apply new energies in familiar places because it can feel like we're at ground zero. But the reality is that you're not at ground zero. How many of you have felt that way? What if I need to start over? I'm starting over from the beginning. I'm too old to start over. I'm already in my 30s. I'm already in my 40s. How do I do this as starting over? And the reality is that you're not starting over. You're not starting from ground zero. All of those skills that I've garnered, writing and speaking and teaching and networking and connecting and being mentored and mentoring, all of that still goes with me wherever God is taking me next. Wherever this book takes me, if this YouTube channel takes me somewhere, all of the skills that I've garnered over my career will still enable me to get to that place. I'm not starting at the bottom of anything. You, sis, are not starting at the bottom. Even if you have been phenomenal in business for the last 20 years, and now you want to go to culinary school and become a chef, you take all your business acumen into the culinary arts. You're not starting at ground zero. It may be new for you to cook for a multitude of people because you're used to cooking for your family, especially at Thanksgiving. Everybody comes to your house, Thanksgiving and Christmas, got it. But you're not starting from ground zero. So I want you to take a moment to think about where you may be going and what skills you get to take with you wherever you go. Because if I were to leave education today, I don't hand them back everything that I've done for the past 10, 15 years. All of that goes with me. Does that make sense? One of the ways that liminal spaces can feel is disorienting, but don't be afraid to apply new energies in familiar directions. And don't be afraid to apply familiar energies in new directions, like taking your business acumen into the culinary arts with you. You go with you wherever you go, girl. Okay. The liminal space can also have a heightened sensitivity. Your emotions feel bigger and more raw and more present. Have you ever just been like feeling like you were on the edge of cussing somebody out, the edge of a good cry? Like I feel like I'm coming to the end of myself sometimes. Lord, give me more roadway, right? It's like finding the yellow brick road. I am a fan of The Wiz. So if you are too, then when Dorothy and the Scarecrow in The Wiz were finding the yellow brick road after she got him down off the pole, and he's kind of brushing things away, and he's like, ease on down. Ease on down the road. Okay, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm still finding the road in the rubble sometimes. I've come to the end of myself, the end of what I know. And honestly, from a spiritual standpoint, I feel like that's such a great faith place to be, where God says you don't have to know it all. Remember, I just said that I knew how to control my life. I knew how to get where I wanted to go and the steps that needed to be taken. And now I don't know what steps to be taken. I don't know where to go. I don't know where I'm going. So I can't create a map and a guide to get myself there. And God's like, good. Now you have to rely on me. I want us to do this together, Sherelle. I don't want you to do this alone. And as a matter of fact, you have been asking to not have to do it all alone. So why don't you allow me to put one block for you to step on before you step on the next? For high achieving Black women, or a high achieving Black woman like myself, it is really challenging to not feel like I have some level of control over my own life. That in this liminal space is what's probably the hardest, because it's like I have a set of keys that I've earned along my life's pathway. Every degree, every opportunity, every great speaking, every great written piece was a new key and a new key and a new key. And I've garnered these keys that have enabled me to open these doors. And now I'm standing at this door, like going through all these keys, and none of them work. And God's like, good. They aren't supposed to work. And as a matter of fact, who told you this was the door anyway? I have you in the hallway. I'm going to need you to trust me and my timing and be patient. And I'm shaking my head because it is such a challenge for me. And if you're like me, drop "girl, me too" in the comments. Patience is a virtue that I was not afforded at birth. And it's not a virtue that I have really worked to cultivate over my life. I want to get there, and I want to get there fast. Why? Why for me is there a need to get there fast? It's my own trauma response. I've lost a lot of family, and it was always so abrupt and sudden. It was literally out of the blue. I was talking to a family member on one day, and the next day, literally someone's calling me and telling me they passed away fast. And so I feel the need to live life in a way because I don't know what tomorrow brings. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it today. We're going to create a business, we'll create it today. We're going to quit our job, let's quit it today. I'm just like, let's go. Whether life is too short or too long, it's too short or too long to live so unhappily. And that's how I've lived life for a very long portion of time. And God is like, I want you to pause, rest, be still, and trust me. And not only trust me, trust my timing. So I'm going to come back to those later. We're going to come back to those later in another video. All right, so the liminal space can feel disorienting. It could have a heightened sensitivity, but it also has increased possibilities. Increased possibilities. One, because I have so many skills, who knows what God's going to mold that into? Because sis, you have so many skills. Who knows what God's going to mold that into? You have so many experiences, and don't discount yourself if you don't have the degrees I have. That don't mean nothing. That don't matter in this context at all. At all. You could have worked your way from the fry cook to the manager at Burger King. The level of customer service that you have learned, how to work with people of all types, from the front to the kitchen to the office, your money management skills, you still have a body of skills that you don't know how God's going to mold and use that and use you in a new space behind this door. You just gotta be willing to navigate the hallway without banging your head on the door. You know, take a seat, cop a squat, grab a book and read. We're here until he opens it. What are you going to do? Run back down the hallway to an old door? That's the thing about increased possibilities, because old patterns, you're able to loosen them some so that new ones can take root, right? You stop investing as much in the job that you currently have, and you start reading, you start watching more videos, you start taking the master classes. You are loosening up old patterns and habits and ways of being and knowing, and you are allowing new ones to take root. And maybe that's exactly what God wanted during this time. If I just gave her a little bit of quiet, what would she do? And look at you. Look what you're doing. If I just gave you a little bit of quiet, would you continue to run and rip? Or would you pause a little bit? Would you be still a little longer? Would you be far more introspective about who you are and what you even really want and desire? For Black women especially, I feel like this liminal space carries an additional weight because we've often been conditioned to move through discomfort quickly, to say, I'm okay, or I got it, and just keep going. We learn to perform strength. That don't mean we're not strong, but we learn to perform it. Okay. I have a Facebook group, and tonight I made a post and asked, sis, what are you growing through? And in the comments, I shared what I'm growing through. And so one of the sisters, who is my actual sorority sister, said that she lost her little sister. She's grieving. She doesn't recognize herself when she looks in the mirror, but she has to put on a mask when other people are around because she doesn't want to make them sad. That is a performance of strength. And if you reflect over your life, there have been a number of ways where you have performed strength. I can tell you a number of times that I have performed strength, a number of times where I said that I had it when I did it and I needed help, but I didn't open myself up to the help that was available to me. I was performing strength. I thought that's what I needed to do. I had been conditioned to believe that that's what women and Black women do. I only saw my mother keep going even when she was breaking. I only saw my grandmothers keep going in spite and despite. That's what I knew to do. They never said to do it. It's what I did. It's what I did. I have worked to create a new space for my son where he knows that he can share his emotions, that he can be vulnerable, that he can say, hey, mom, I need help. I don't have this. And I'm not saying that I could not have done those things in my own home, but it wasn't explicitly stated. And many of us don't come from homes where it's explicitly stated, but we do watch the model and then we take it up, right? Anybody feel that? If you feel that in the comments, say, sis, I'm tired of being strong. I've been strong for too long. I am tired of being strong. But the liminal space, it doesn't ask us to rush through discomfort like we're used to. It asks us to stay a little bit longer, sit a little bit longer, rest a little bit longer, be still a little bit longer, and not to rush our own becoming. I think I'm realizing for myself that the liminal space is not a time or a season to find answers. The goal is to learn to tolerate uncertainty long enough for clarity to arrive. Because the more that I sit uncertain, the more that I become certain of the things that I no longer want. The more I become certain of the things I'm no longer willing to tolerate. The more that I have to sit here, the more I'm like, oh, baby, you can't treat me that way. You should have met me 5 minutes ago, but you can't treat me that way now. It's the clarity comes in smaller doses, but I'm not doing anything for it and I'm not searching anywhere for it. I'm just being quiet and still long enough. It's a shift from fixing it to just being in it. And I think that that's really where transformation lives, just being in it. All right, so as I wrap up, I want to give you 3 reflective questions for your introspective time or your journal time later, okay? I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, so I love to give a little bit of homework. So when I work with the littles, elementary school, I'm not a fan of all that homework, but as a wellness and life coach to women, I am a fan of it because you're only with me for an hour at a time, whether you meet with me weekly, every 2 weeks, or monthly, you're only with me for an hour, but you're with yourself always. So here are 3 reflective questions. You can respond to all 3. You can choose the one that really nuzzles in your spirit the most. I'm not going to take up this homework. You're not going to send it to me in my DMs or email it to me. So this is just for your introspection. Okay. Question number 1. What story am I telling myself about being in between right now? Is it a story of failure, or can I find language that honors that this is a place of transition? Are you telling yourself you're a failure, or can you honor this and choose and find language that allows you to treat this as a place of transition, a place of becoming? Question number 2, where in my body do I feel this season? What does uncertainty feel like physically? What does that sensation need from me? I was feeling it in my gut. And I realized that I was holding on to so much and I needed to verbalize what I was going through. And at that point, I really decided to start Black Women Becoming, because even as an expert, I don't have all the answers. I wanted to share a journey with you all and not tell you, this is what I did. I have a perfect life and you can make it here too. No, it ain't perfect. It's good in ways, it's great in others, and in some ways it sucks, and that's just the reality. So what does it look like to journey together? And that's what I'd love to do with you. Question 3. What would it look like to stop waiting to feel settled before you give yourself to permission to be present, joyful, and at peace? What would it feel like to stop waiting to feel settled before you give yourself permission to be present, joyful, and at peace? The question is, can you praise him in the hallway? Can you dance and have a good time? You are not in the hallway alone. Pull up a seat. Bring the playlist. Let's talk through some things together. Join my face group community. Go out to the park with your girlfriends. Don't let it live in your gut. Share your truth. Dance it. Exercise. Read. Journal. What would it look like to be present in this moment and not rush the future and not dwell in the past, to find your joy right now and to find your peace? If any of this landed for you today, I would love to hear from you in the comments, even if you simply say, Dr. Mac, I'm on this journey with you. Okay? You don't have to have it all figured out. I don't have it all figured out, but we can grow through this journey together.